families. There's just so much I can go into. His brother is one of my dear friends. I sit on the board of Pencils of Promise and been involved with that. But when we met for the first time ever, 8 or 9 years ago, we're waiting outside of Nobu in Midtown. They're not ready to seat us. We're just meeting. My brother AJ's there, which is rare for me to bring my brother to a meeting back in the day, but the reason was because Scooter and his brother were there. We're just getting to know each other. We're put in touch by CAA or somebody else. We're just getting to know each other. The first thing we get into in 30 seconds is our deep love with the New York Jets, and within 19 seconds of that, Mark Sanchez, our starting quarterback, walks by us. Neither of us know him at the time, and we're like, did that just happen? Then we get seated next to him. It becomes this whole classic story, and thus becomes a great friendship. And watching what, at that point you were managing Justin. So you'd already kind of, quote-unquote, made it into the consciousness, but nowhere to the mogul impact you're making now. I'm really glad you're here, Scooter. Thanks for being here.
On the bottom screen.
How are you?
The admiration is mutual. So
thanks,
I've watched you do these from distance.
Oh, you can see me in
the actually coming here, finding the time. I'm excited for this. I don't think I'll ever yell back and forth on a podcast the way we're probably about to go.
To your point, we've been talking about doing this for quite a while. Scooter's cool, and what that means is that he FaceTimes, not calls or texts.
Yeah.
Right? He's in the culture.
Which I also like to FaceTime people to make them feel uncomfortable.
100%.
Like you have to like FaceTime.
Always like. I mean, he's always on the West Coast. I'm
in
bed with my wife. Like all this stuff. It's the best because don't eat weekends. But what's most fun is that Scooter and I activate our friendship the most during football season. We're both diehard Jet fans, and the fact that out of all the times we could have possibly done this, we're doing it literally the Monday after a third loss in a row. The rose is super off the bloom on this season.
What I texted you? What was the last thing I texted you? Because we're in a chain with like Lucky Jets. And the last thing I texted was, "This is not fun."
Yes, it's just not. It's just not. And so, sort of real quick, for the, knowing my audience, for the 3 to 6%, because that's how little it is, that don't know anything about you, give me the comic book #1 origin story, because I think there's so many things I admire about your origin story. I'll bring them up if you don't get to them. But what is the 3-minute version of who you are, in your words?
Look, I was a kid who grew up
oh my God, bro! There's like at least 20 dudes here. Oh, I fell off. Oh my God, that was great. See, I told you guys, fastest death in Black Ops.
Her own accomplishments after that, and they moved us to a suburb of New York. And I grew up with amazing siblings. I have there's 5 of us. When I was a teenager, my parents adopted 2 more, so there became 5 of us. And I was kind of a kid who played ball. I played basketball growing up, and I thought that was what I was going to do. I was going to be a coach. Maybe I would become a lawyer. Who knows? I knew I was going to the NBA. 5'11" dude. It wasn't happening. But when I got to college, I kind of became frustrated with being broke. I started first selling fake IDs, and then quickly realized I was going to get caught, so I stopped doing that. I became a party promoter and became a very big party promoter in Atlanta, Georgia. Hip-hop going in Atlanta in like 2000.
Yeah, some of your Throwback Thursday photos are so gangster. They just are.
It was funny, like Young Jeezy and I knew each other when he was just Young Jeezy, the drug dealer, not even the rapper.
Right.
And he would come to my parties and we would hang out. But I kind of came up. I worked Throw Them Bows for Ludacris. That was the first person I worked in the club. This guy Shakir Stewart put me in the music game with Shaka Zulu, Ludacris's manager.
There's a guy.
And then Jermaine Dupri asked me to help him out. I was 20 years old.
Where are you?
Became the vice president of So Deaf. Dropped out of school. Young Bloods.
I didn't know that. You dropped out of school?
Dropped out of school my
Did
sophomore
your parents
year.
shit?
So for the first semester of me being dropped out,
lied?
Well, I lied. I actually paid for the semester, so they would send my parents the mail. And by them getting the mail, they didn't really know I was out of school. And then they kept asking stories, and I'd always know. At the time, AirTran went under. So it was out of Atlanta. They had something.
Did it go under because a plane crashed?
I don't even know why, but
I remember AirTran.
Well,
big shout out to Moose, my homie, who was my boy, lived in Alpharetta after college. Dude, we would go to Vegas for a weekend, and like he'd get there for $4.
Well, this is the thing. Anyone with a college ID, because this is pre 9/11, so it wasn't even ID. Just college ID, go anywhere on AirTran if there was an available seat. And I would fly all around the country working, building relationships for $49 a ticket, and I would throw my parties and then, throw parties in Miami and here. And I was traveling all around.
Whoever's watching this, guys,
and that gave me an opportunity to get places.
When you were throwing parties, this is just me now getting excited and curious. There's only two deltas. On the delta of business and on the delta of like hooking up and having fun. What were you at that point when you were
100?
I kind of thought that's what you were going to say. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I was 100%.
I actually fully believe that.
Yeah, I was 100%. My thing was, did I have fun? Was I single? Did I meet girls? Yes, but never the ones at my parties. If I was going to meet women, it was on the days where I wasn't throwing parties and I was going out.
There's guys coming to your gas station, bro.
You were working.
I was working and I wasn't getting caught up. I didn't even drink. Maybe I'd do a shot here and there, but I was there to make money and run a business, and I had no interest. And I always used to say the guys who are trying to get laid off of being a party promoter, they're going to lose to me because they're too busy. They're too busy focused on the wrong thing.
That's right.
And we built a massive party business. We were the highest college promotion company in the country. All over the place, and then started helping Jermaine, doing all that. And then when I was 24, I had all these ideas about social media because Facebook would come, and I had all these ideas, and Jermaine wasn't really listening to me on them. And I got great advice from my dad. He said, "Look,
oh my God,
give your ideas, but it's their company. If you want to go for it, go for it." And then little John,
oh my God, where's this guy?
And I were out together, and I said, "Look, I worked for Jermaine for 7 years.
Don't save me yet.
Don't take 7 years.
Yes.
And
behind the truck.
Long story, but I ended up leaving. Not by choice, actually. We'll get into that later. But it was more me wanting to leave and not doing it because I was afraid. And then the universe.
Oh, wait, no. Get in the truck.
Something happened in the office.
In the truck. Yeah, he's gonna shoot me.
Basically, me and Jermaine's mom got into stupid. The next day, we'll just give it 2 weeks in office, and that was enough for me to be like, this is not.
There you go.
And I started my own. Big record call.
He had a devastating loss. He's a big one.
Like, what is up?
After that, I was online, middle of the night, looking at on the internet.
That was a sick game, guys. How'd you guys like that?
Don't do that. That's a joke.
But you know what's interesting to me, and I don't know where I picked this up through our travels through the years, but there was a part of you, it's funny, and I think of Troy Carter and things of that nature, like, I'm sure that, like, there was definitely a part of you that was strategic of, like, the hip-hop industry has a lot of vulnerabilities on the talent and just a million different things, and just raw numbers of how many albums sell. Like, you weren't just doing that for kicks and giggles. There was a thought process of a pop star, and you also, Scooter, is this right? I don't know if I remember this vividly from literally, I think, our first dinner like a decade ago. Didn't you try to put together a boy band like at some point as well?
So I tried and what I did was try, not a boy band, I put together a group.
Didn't they live at your house or something?
Yeah, they lived in my house. They ended up robbing the apartment complex that I put them in. And it was like, I tried a couple different things. I put together another group, and then they actually went to jail for bank robbery. And I didn't know they were robbing federal banks. Like, that's a real thing. I got investigated by the FBI. Like, it was pretty wild. But
like, did all those experiences take you to, like, I need like a 9-year-old child?
No, what it took me to was someone saying, you're trying to sign everything that you think we want instead of what you want.
Interesting.
And this guy Jerry Smokin' B, who at the time was the program director of Hot 97 Atlanta, he said, "You're really talented. Stop trying to sign everything that you think we want. Sign what you want and what you think is good." And I looked at the marketplace and I said, "What's the opening?" And with Asher, I was like, at the time Eminem was the only white rapper, and I said, here's this kid who can really spit, but also isn't trying to be anything he isn't. And there's a lot of kids who go to hip-hop shows who look like him or relate to him. And that's why I did that. And with Justin, I said...
Who wrote the college song?
He did.
He did.
And with Justin, I looked at it and I said,
it's not Doc Pot Boys.
Ludacris's manager. He said, you're lucky if you get one big star your whole career, one breakthrough. People can live off that forever. I said, well, I'm going to break 2 right away. That's the case. And with Justin, I said, I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, and Michael used to sing these angelic love songs in the Jackson 5, and his voice reminded you of when you were a kid before you were jaded by love. So you believe in the love story. And when I saw Justin, I was like, this is the kid I've been looking for. And I found him, brought him in, signed Justin.
With no bullshit, like, I'm just dying to know. You may not remember, but I'm dying to know this because I don't know it. How many views was he getting on his
60,000.
About 60,000, which was at the time a lot, but nothing compared to what it is now.
It was like, okay, so people are paying attention, but you know, at the time, like, you know, people gave a fuck, and if you had 1 million. That was $1 million was like a breakthrough, and it was our like 20th video when we got our first 1 million. But all the videos we had accumulated until that suddenly became.
How many videos did he have that you were able to look at?
4 to 6.
And you emailed him through YouTube?
Well, I tried everything, but his mom had a different last name. And I tried everything, and then I Googled.
Let's go to those crappy house studios.
I found out they were part of Ontario. I called every school board in that part of Ontario until I found him. And then his mom called to get rid of me because she thought I was a stalker. And after 45 minutes of speaking, she agreed to get on the first plane ride either that I'd ever been on. And we've been together ever since.
Zooming in inside here.
Okay, cool. So that's like your. I mean, that's the nutshell.
That's the origin, and then we went on, and things went well, and I really focused on that for 4 years, and then someone who I respected took a shot at me and said, "Oh, he's good, but he only has that." And I got pissed, so I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna sign you."
Yo, don't be such a. Oh my God, get out of here!
Style. I signed, you know, Carly Rae Jepsen with.
By the way, my most fun story.
You're not gonna get. Oh, this guy.
House in LA, and
wow, that was a great game.
Visit, and I was just there for a night, flying back next morning. Texted him, he said, "Come over." I came over, and he's like, "Hey man, I want you to listen to this song." And I'm like, I'm not from the new music industry. That's not my norm. Boyd and I do some fun stuff. And
that is the stupidest guy in the game.
This might be the third time in my life I ever heard a song before anybody else.
It does.
And he plays "Call Me Baby," and I'm like, man, that's super fucking catchy. But like, I thought I was just doing that because I don't even know. But to watch that, like, man, that is so fun. I did it with like startups. I do it with wine. I do it with other things. But like, music is so deeply cultural, and that was such a smash hit song. Like, that was the song of the year. To like hear it in your backyard that night, and then like 2 months later, you know, hear it every single place ever. That's a fun part of your game.
No,
Justin heard her on the radio in Canada. What was it again?
Justin heard her on the radio in Canada. His friend told him it was number 36 on the Canadian chart. And then he came back and played it, and I said, "This is really good." And I looked into it, and the labels in the U.S. had passed. And I said, "Oh, this is not. This is." So I went and I signed it for the worldwide outside of Canada. And we ended up selling 26 million copies or something. And then Gangnam Style, and then
zero.
Yeah, and then it was we signed Ariana and Martin Garrix, and you know, we just kept going, and then we bought other management companies, and we just expanded. And I'm always on this mentality. You and I have talked about it. That out of everything that's happened from TV to film, all these different things, I just assume it's going to end tomorrow at all times.
So you're squeezing the fuck out of it.
Not even squeezing the fuck out of it, just never letting it be overwhelming in a way of thinking. Like we can argue about this. I actually don't know how you feel about this. I just think anyone who says stuff doesn't play a part in their success.
You gotta start somewhere.
I think so much is not in my control, and so that's how I think about it, right? Like, luck is an interesting word. I think the way one uses it, but much like the person said, he's good, but he's only got one thing. To me, I was treated like I was born in the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War, and nobody in my country, let's get it very simple here, nobody in my country had left that country for 40 years. You couldn't leave. They didn't let you leave. That's what the Soviet Union was. And I got to leave as a 3-year-old baby because 400,000 Jews got traded for wheat. Because Russia and America and Israel teamed up. Like, to me, that is the most lucky thing. But to me, it all depends on how you look at it. Like, most of our lives are not, like, you could get hit by a truck tomorrow.
No, 100%. But I look at it as the fact of, like, I think if you acknowledge that luck, you don't lose.
See, you know, I think where you're going, and I agree with you completely, is like getting high on your own. Like, thinking, like,
can't get high on your own spot.
Couldn't believe it more. That's exactly where I was going. Look, I think the thing you and I will both agree with, because I know your family well enough to know this, we are disproportionate. You started I'm the product of 2 wonderful parents, is your opening line. Everybody on my team here watching, I'm sure, took note of that, because that's all I talk about. Like, I'm the product of my parents. I
don't think the American dream. I think, you know, when we were kids, we were told about this American dream, and I think people think it's you come here and you live it. I don't think that's what it is. I think the American dream is you come here and you give your kids an opportunity to live.
Holy moly.
I mean, your parents came here, you're living the American dream. My parents came here, I'm living the American dream. And that is a reflection of the sacrifices made by them to give us that opportunity.
And then obviously the way we think about our grandparents and things like that, it gets so intense. Look, I think where you're going really matters, which is literally, I genuinely believe this. It's an interesting conversation. For me, the biggest thing though is I just don't think anything I did yesterday matters anymore. I really am big on you're only as good as your last at bat, and I'm glad that I have some sort of resume. But like, if I start fucking up tomorrow, it gets wild.
Okay, so this is where it's going to get fun for people because I'm going to push you on that.
Go ahead.
I think where we're always going to end up is agreeing, but I just want to push you on that.
Go ahead.
So
around me or you?
I agree with you, especially in this world, that the judgment on us is get out of here. And I think to remain successful, you have to have that mentality. Otherwise, you get complacent.
Oh my God, there's a freaking amazing gun.
But the other side of that is, if you're constantly trying to outdo yourself, and you don't acknowledge yesterday, you can go into a very, very dark place and feel like you're not enough ever.
You know, it's interesting. So this is gonna be super. You're right. This is gonna be fun. I don't know if I've ever thought about outdoing myself. I think I just love it so much that I want to be able to have the permission to continue to play.
You're a very unique soul. And I think the problem, no, that's the truth, because you, and you know, we can get into whether you deal with depression or I don't know, but I think a lot of people I've met, they get into this place, even with Gangnam Style, right? I remember when I did that. Here I am, I'm taking this guy who is my brother now. Me and Sai have this thing, we joke around, we actually say this to each other. Instead of just saying I love you, we say love you, fuck you. Like that's like a joke. It's a joke between us. But,
where's he living right now?
He lives in Korea and he goes back and forth to Beijing and he does a bunch of stuff between the two. But Sai's great, but the difference is like, Sai was like, I have to do it again. People were like, oh, you guys are, you know, that was good, but like, can you do it again? And actually, Gentleman went number 3, which was the next one.
Right.
But the funny thing is, I never sought out to do it again. I had a slightly overweight Korean man dancing and singing in Korean, fully in Korean, and he's in his 40s. And he's coming to the United States. I wanted to get that to be number 1 in the United States and around the world. We did that. It stayed there for multiple weeks. That was the impossible. And that's what people do. That you achieve the impossible and they go, oh, that was cool, but can you do this? And I think if you start to get in that mode of the expectations of others and what they want, you miss the point that you already achieved greatness. And you have to live in that too. So I understand what you're saying. I think the problem with me and Gary is we always say the same thing, but we say it in completely different ways.
Look, I think there's, you know, I only think I admire you so much because of our similarities, because I love myself so much. I'm not, I mean, like, I really, you know, look,
you play a large part in how I got back in shape, though. I actually want to give you love to that because I'm going to live years longer for my boys and my daughter because of you, because I watched Gary hire a trainer 24/7.
Go down.
And I was like, you know what? I'm in a place financially where I can do that.
Look at my screen.
And I need to kickstart myself. So I hired a trainer to stay with me for 30 straight days, day in and day out.
Dude, there was some photo you posted on Instagram where I was like,
oh, he's right there in front of you, bro.
You got into
what are you doing?
You had some real fucking muscles in one photo. I was like, fuck, that's a lot of muscles.
You know what? I got really,
yeah.
I got my dad is 64, has a 6-pack. He's like 200 pounds, 6'2". He's a big dude, and I got his DNA, so I was able to like. My friend Eugene, who I have Rumble with, he was giving me shit. He was like, I work out like you. Why is this not happening? And I was like, you know, I have friends who it doesn't happen for me the way they happen for them.
I was excited to see you guys do. You know, you guys went into a pretty significant partnership, right? Because
Rumble.
He's really. I like him a lot.
He's a great guy, and I'm really excited for what we're doing.
Did you know him in the catch days and even before that, the promoter days?
Yeah.
So you've known him a long time.
10 June.
Scooter, what is it? Let me go completely left on the back of that Eugene comment. So you and I are different in one way. You have been in the scene. You've grown up in the scene and grew in the scene, meaning I did something very weird. I literally worked in a liquor store in New Jersey, never went to Manhattan, LA, Atlanta, anywhere, literally for 14, until I was like 34, 35 years old. I've been fascinated with, I keep bringing up these throwback, you know, kind of things, because much like Eugene as well, I was like, oh, not that I envy. I was like, oh, it would have been cool to come up with all these people and like see everybody. Like I came out of left field, kind of in a lot of ways.
Yeah, buddy.
What does it feel like to? How do you look at things like Unseen and others when you see a lot of people that you came up with, some accelerated, some better than you thought in your own little fun game? Like, what does it feel like to be part of a scene of culture for 2 decades and still be so young, where you know there's another 3, 4, 5 chapters? I'm sure you look at some of your friends who are 38 and say, "Wow, she's going to be the governor of California one day. That one's going to be this." Like, how does it feel to be part of the zeitgeist?
Oh, there's that.
Look, it's cool because there's history learning from childhood, and there's respect. That they grind, and
that's what I like.
And you know the mentality, like Eugene, like me.
This is where our thumbnail is.
No way. He was a worker from
where all that crazy stuff.
And a Russian immigrant who made it happen. And came to the city and saw the opportunity and grinded it out.
Wait, he was like in Ohio or something?
No, he was just coming into the city.
But do you know where he was going? Okay, go ahead.
I think he grew up around here. And then, I think for me, that's really great. But at the same time, I also get upset when I see certain people from that scene who they find resentment in that. And
because they didn't make it as big and they were
sometimes,
ahead of other
sometimes
people.
Sometimes they were ahead and didn't make it as big. Other times they are making it big, but they've made the mistake of thinking that, and I see it with people I've known, see people I don't know. They make the mistake of thinking success is some kind of zero-sum game.
Yeah, what's up, boys? People's inability to understand the abundance.
Yeah. Well, I've never understood it because
it's not practical.
It's not practical, and I think the way I figured out how to explain it makes it easier for people to understand. Because we grow up in a world where we think that if I'm winning, someone else should be losing, or if I'm losing, someone else is winning, and that's why people get into that mode. And what I like to explain is, I call it the vacation theory, where if I'm successful and none of my friends are successful, I have to pay for them to go on vacation with me. I don't want to pay for your vacation. My goal in life is to have all of my friends become successful so that they also can pay for the nice vacation, and it isn't all on me financially. So if you think of it that way, because I think a lot of people, they kind of look into it like, I want to be the one who makes it. No, you want everyone to make it. And the other thing I'll say is, whenever I talk to powerful people, and I had the pleasure day of sitting with a mentor of mine today who's had an incredible career. He's one of my favorite people in the world. And when he talks about other super powerful people, he talks about 30, 40, 50 years of history. And what I think the beautiful part about that is, people make this idea that I got to get to this person. They think they got to get to you. They think they got to get to me. You want to know who you got to get to? They're sitting next to you in the living room dreaming just like you. They are your peers. If you come up, anyone who's powerful, their network is more powerful than their money. They can say, "Oh, who do you need? I've known him for 20 years. Let me make a phone call." It's coming up that grind. Me and Eugene, we went into this business together because we knew each other from the grind.
Of course.
I can call, when I needed Ludacris on Baby back in the day for Justice for Singing, because Ludacris and I came up with Throw Them Bows in a nightclub. So for me, it's not about the person you aspire to know. You should go to them for stories, get some wisdom. But if you want to know who you need to network with your peers and help each other rise up, and that's where power comes from.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think you're dramatically better at? Like, as a dude, as a human, what do you think you're way better at today than even just 5 years ago? Like,
watching the Jets lose. I'm much better at it now than I was 5 years ago.
Because I think what's super interesting about I don't even know why I'm intuitively asking this, because again, listen, we're so busy, we don't get to spend that much time together.
I know the answer.
You know the answer to
I know the answer because I had to go to a very dark place to find it.
Tell me, because I'm really curious.
So you know a lot about me and my family. Yep. So 2 years ago, I lost one of the most important people in my life, which was my grandmother. And she was one of the most special human beings anyone's ever met. And everyone who knew her loved her. And she was an Auschwitz Holocaust survivor. So she saw the worst of humanity, but literally was the light in every room she went into. And everyone called her Mom. When she passed away, my brother, 11 hours later, had twins. And 9 days later, I had my son. And now I got a wife with
nice.
Wow, month-old baby and a newborn.
Yeah, bro.
He's breastfeeding. I got a dad who's broken because both his parents are dead.
What is that?
And I'm trying to be the rock for the whole family. And I didn't have time for grieving, so I went into, I started going into a depression I wasn't used to. I'd gone through this.
Yeah, where you at?
I couldn't get away from it. And I started to get even more depressed because no one was asking me if I was okay. Because I've been the rock for all of my friends and my family my entire life.
Oh my God! How did that work?
I have fun, I go crazy, but I was always the one that you didn't have to worry about. And I'm always the one who goes and fixes everyone else's problems. And finally, I opened up to him. I didn't talk to his wife about it.
Yes, buddy.
We didn't do anything. And instead, she looked at me and she goes, "You can always talk to me about anything. I love you, but this is your fault."
Yeah, you made the bed.
And I said, well,
I'm that person in my life.
And I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You always fix everyone else's problems. You don't stay long enough to let them know your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, and who you are. So you think you're connected to all these people, but they don't feel connected to you. They just trust you can help them out."
Yeah.
And I decided as a New Year's resolution
that armor, man. Why is he
that I would take time to engage and show people who I was so that they could be there for me in dark times. It's, and I am much better about that. Taking time out of my life to stop and speak to people and engage with them and let them know that I've been through those moments. And my life is more fulfilling now. I have more genuine friendships now that I didn't even know weren't genuine. That's actually why I even take the time to do stuff like this, because I want to get that message out there. I want people to know vulnerability is strength.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they think they got to be so tough all the time because it's weak if you show you're scared.
You know what's funny?
And that's not weak.
For me, it comes so natural.
To help people?
Yeah.
No, 100%.
I have so much optimism and happiness and emotional strength that whether it's a subconscious guilt, whether it's just appeases me, whether it's control. Like, I know I do a lot of things emotionally because it's the leverage. I can feel it in me if I'm self-evaluating. Like, there's an abundance of emotional strength
that we get from our parents.
100,000%.
100%.
Like, the reason I do it is because I have it to give, and when I'm surrounded by family members, business people, friends, acquaintances, I want to be there. I want to do it. Like, Boyd's in the room right now. Like, I had so much fun on a late Friday night calling him at 11:30 p.m. and giving him a piece of advice. Like, that made me happy because I had it to give. But to your point, like, there's no question, like, in the back of my mind. See, it's funny that you gave that answer. I had the great misfortune of losing all my grandparents except for one before I was born. So basically, the only fucking thing I give a fuck about is like 11 or 12 people, and as long as they're healthy and here, I'm good. It's interesting. I'm 42 years old, soon to be 43. I'm widely aware that in my uniqueness of always being happy, that the domino that's most vulnerable is something happening to one of those 8 or 9, 10 people. And I sit here at 43 and I'm like, for all the who I am and I'm a wild character and I'm a unique dude, I'm like, yeah, but guess what? The kryptonite hasn't happened. My mom isn't terminally ill. Like, my dog, I have kids. The kids one, if you want to talk about, like, when you're a family guy or gal, you always talk about, like, the greatest, especially like in our culture, I think, the greatest fear ever is like losing a child. Like, I couldn't even, like, you want to talk about knocking on woods? Like I'm just like, well, that put me into, like, am I gonna be like Luke Skywalker in like the new movies and go into a cave forever?
I think I probably would.
Because I don't think that wouldn't be inappropriate. I'm like, that's, so.
But let me ask you this. I just want to. I want to test this.
Go ahead.
And I don't know what's gonna happen. He called you the other night at 11:30. And be honest.
Yeah, be honest. And Boyd will be.
Boyd, he obviously knows you and can help you out. But do you honestly feel you know him?
Yeah.
And why?
Well, I've been around Gary since 2009, so I've seen him grow and mature and change and get into fitness.
But has he opened up to you about his fears and stuff?
Yes.
So my thing is, I thought my friends would say, yeah, I know him, but when I needed help, they didn't even know that was something that made
Scooter,
sense.
can I ask you a great question? Because it's super fun. This is super interesting content. did you even know what it felt like? Like it's cool. Like I could tell Boyd, like for example, like, and Boyd might be able to answer. The only thing I ever talk about from a fear standpoint is losing or the health and well-being of everyone else. Do you think that you would have even known that you were capable of going to that place consistently? It's funny you said something, dude. I'm so weirded out by some of our. Like, again, I think I want the audience to know this. Scooter and I have had this incredibly interesting relationship. I compare it in a funny way. I've never said this to him. Of like relationships I have with my family members who I take most for granted, because we're almost playing on the same mental wavelength. Like you would probably be stunned how little time Scooter and I have actually spent together over the last decade, because it's just the way we roll. But there is this deep kinship. The fact that you said sleep it off, it is insane to me. That basically when the worst business things or life things that have happened to me outside, which I would deem as not that.
Shut this off.
I just go to sleep, and the next morning I'm like, oh, let's win. I remember when I lost Texas. There's a business thing. We lost the ability to ship to Texas, which was crippling for Wine Library, and we were the only company that was picked on by FedEx to not ship to Texas. And it was a lot of. It was $4 million. We were a small business, and like literally, it was like, this is dangerous shit. I went home at 3:30 in the afternoon, went to sleep, woke up the next day, and just started chopping wood and like fixed it.
That's who I am.
I kind of picked up on that because it was very subtle the way you said it. So I understand what it's. I don't know if. Let me ask you a question. Had you ever been able to sustain being depressed or upset?
Not like when I
for how long prior to Mom?
My grandmother.
Yeah, prior to Mom.
Prior to Mom, like
what do you think?
Being in your own head.
Yeah.
Like
so like, to me, I've never been able to be in a full 24-hour cycle of true depression. Like
no, 100%. Like it kind of goes back and forth. When that happened, it went really, really bad. And what was shocking wasn't the depression. What was shocking was he says he knows you, but because he's never seen you like that, the shocking part was that people didn't know to ask me if I was okay. They didn't know to say. They didn't even comprehend the idea that I could be broken.
I get it, man.
And when I admitted that, I had to ask myself, why is that? And that was on me. That's what my wife taught me.
She's 100%
and I
right.
didn't express my fears. I didn't express my vulnerabilities. So they didn't know what to look for. They didn't know to be there. And I feel like a lot of people, like, I was like, well, why? Of course they should know. Like, I've been in really important moments in these people's lives. Like, I've been there for so many different people. But I realized I never took the time to say, because I'm like you, I'm energy, I'm gone, I'm this, that. I fixed it, time to go back. Next thing you know, Superman, I can hear everything going on. Let's go. And
omnipresent.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, what I had to teach myself, which I'm better at, going back to your original question, is to say, yes, I could do 40 more things today, but I'm not. I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to get deep with this person, and I'm going to engage in a way I normally don't do.
Interesting. I fully understand.
And that is something that has made me happier, because it actually hasn't slowed down any of my success. It hasn't slowed down any of my progress. And what it has done is made me go with more joy into the next day, more ready to fight, because I feel like I had a genuine moment that day that I didn't even realize I was missing two or 3 years before.
Yeah, because the speed in which you're going, it's a width game, not a depth game.
Those Nate skis.
Yeah, man, I super get it. I super understood that. And you happy with some questions? If people want to do some questions. Let's do a quick question and we'll keep bouncing. Because I have some other contemporary questions. We've gone deep here a little bit, which I appreciate. No, it's super interesting. I super get it. It's funny. I'm sitting here. A lot of the vulnerabilities that I've created in the two companies that I've run, Wine Library and Vayner, the vulnerabilities are I created entitlement because I put so much on me.
I have the same thing. My staff is about to hear this, so they're going to never play ping pong again. But I've been getting very frustrated. We have a ping pong table in the middle of the office. And I keep seeing all the young people like playing ping pong, and I'm like, what the fuck? How are you able to play ping pong if I'm killing myself? And I always had this rule where I was like, if you can't say you work harder than me, you can't complain. And no one ever fucking complains, except Allison, who probably is the only person who works harder than me. She's been with me for a decade. And I mean, Allison had a child and was on email 2 hours later. And I was like, Allison, get off email. And she goes, it's boring here. Like she's an animal. But I can't understand, especially when you're that age.
Hello.
Why you want to grind 24/7?
What's that?
Boys, you want to go darty?
Maxon?
Yeah, Max works, Gary.
Maxon works too, brother. Maxon, you're on with Scooter Braun. How are you?
Oh my God, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your question?
Yeah, I was coming with a question. My brother, he is an EDM producer. He's been doing it for about 4 or 5 years, and I help him sometimes. And my question is that he does a lot of local shows. He lives down in New Mexico, and I live in Vermont, so we do mostly FaceTime. But he does a lot of local shows.
First of all, hold on real quick, Max, and I'm just very excited about this. Like, the fact that you're in Vermont and he's in New Mexico is just the greatest part of this story, because I don't know how many people have the New Mexico, Vermont relationship. I think it's rare. I think there's a very small amount of people that the connection is Vermont and New Mexico, and I think you need to think about how rare that is and maybe monetize it.
Okay. Yeah, no,
all right, keep going.
Definitely, it's a rare combo.
Very.
Yeah, so he does a lot of local shows, and he has SoundCloud. So I guess my thought is that obviously he'll send out his songs to different independent labels, and he's had some singles with it for like one-time releases. What some advice maybe you would offer Scooter or Gary on what he can maybe do to get attention for different A&R contacts or people at labels beyond like social media? I mean, social media is very important, I know that. And just some other ideas.
And Max, real quick before Scooter answers, is the goal to get signed? Like, what's the? I think the goal is the most important question.
Yeah, definitely the goal would be to get signed. He's a senior at college now, and he has a friend who's been doing it with him since high school, and he's a junior. I know he's working contacts. He's studying abroad in Amsterdam, so he's been working with different leagues there too.
Okay. I'm ready to answer, buddy.
Okay. Yeah.
I disagree with your goal.
Thanks, man.
And it's against me being able to sign artists, but I just think with this equalizer we call the internet, and the fact that you now have Spotify saying they'll do direct deals with artists, and we have this platform, especially in a genre like EDM where albums are very insignificant and it's all about singles and mostly touring. I don't know why you would want to get signed. I think what you should be doing is focusing on building a fan base, not worrying about getting to an executive, and pushing out the music through SoundCloud, pushing the music as far as you possibly can, and building up a base, building up a proper brand for yourself, and let the labels chase you, let the A&Rs chase you. You should be chasing them, especially in a time where it's never been more advantageous to be independent with the resources at your fingertips. I just think you guys are focused on the wrong thing, and that's probably why you haven't found success yet. I think once you guys...
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just think once you focus on building the brand properly and just getting to the consumer and getting to the fans, I think you'll start to see success coming your way and not worry about how do we get the attention of some A&R.
Okay. So sort of, if you build it, they'll come. Kind of.
Look, these guys are all scared trying to hold on to their jobs, and they're not interested in taking risks like they used to. They're just trying to chase the momentum. So the other thing is, I think once you get the momentum, you won't be calling Gary Vee or myself back and saying, hey, what deal do we take? You'll be saying, I don't really want to take the deal. I like my economics better now on my own.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that.
Max, I want to paint a picture for you. You literally just called and said, yo, what kind of, VHS video store should I open up? Like, I want to build the next Blockbuster, literally in the face of Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and the golden era of OTT. That is literally no joke, in my opinion, what it's like to be thinking about, I disproportionately am passionate about getting signed in the moment of the I literally would rather, you have your brother's song be distributed in the background of a vlogger that's crushing YouTube right now than you getting discovered.
Can I also add to this to just tell you? I think a lot of artists, DJ, they want to get to me, right? Because of my career. I would even say at 37, I'm afraid I'm becoming a dinosaur. Like, this technology has disrupted music so many times, and the resources are so there. I got kids now. I got, 100 different businesses. The way I built an artist was because that artist was 24/7 my sole purpose. And I think that the resources I have now can take an artist from stage A to G. We'll skip all the other letters because I have the network, but I can't do it without someone getting to step A. And, step A is really breaking it themselves and having that passion. And if you guys are talking about this and you're calling in from Vermont when he's in New Mexico, it means that you got a lot of passion for your brother. And I would use that passion because you don't have to be next to him. I mean, when I was doing Justin, he was in Canada half the time, and I was doing it from Atlanta. I mean, the resources are there. The resources are there for you. Give it to the people, build it with them, and then you'll be having a very, very different discussion the next time you call.
Okay, I definitely respect that.
Max, and listen, I'm telling you this, and this is going to help a lot of people. The biggest vulnerability I see across the board in everything, in culture, business, life, is people are putting something on a pedestal that was yesterday without understanding what's going to happen tomorrow. This has happened already. The leverage has swung to the artist because distribution is controlled by the internet. Scooter's giving you tremendous advice in lieu of what he actually does for a living, in the same way that I tell big brands every day, don't hire agencies, even though that's what I do for a living. And the reason we're doing that is because, first, we create other opportunities for ourselves because we're always hedging against the vulnerability of our current state. But second, because being historically correct is always going to be the value prop. There is absolutely no reason to pander to getting signed. You need to get the audience to love you. You need to get the music distributed out there.
And by the way, if this was 20, 30 years ago, you'd be saying, how do I get it distributed? I'm pretty sure you know how to do that on a worldwide level.
No, that's definitely, that's definitely something we do. That's a good run on Spotify. That song went like 50,000 plays. So
but
progress.
The answer is more, right? Like the thing I tell, having Boyd in the room, I meet with a lot of emerging hip hop artists because I like it. Boyd likes it. It's fun, but I always tell them more fucking music, please. Like you're one fucking song away. Like the preciousness, the overproducing. Go ahead, Scooter.
Here's what I'll say also.
I don't like the video you did with Kyle, Gary.
Yeah, and that was one of the early ones, right? And I just don't understand how people don't understand. An unbelievable part of this is more.
I think it's more, and I also think I think part of your question, because I want to give you a proper answer also, you're saying, how do I network with these people? Let's talk about who you should network with. You said you have
that's great.
You said you have 50,000 plays on Spotify. Figure out who figure out who runs playlists on Spotify for the genre you're in, and do whatever the fuck it takes to get to that person and make them believe in what you believe in, and that's who you should be focused on. That's who the label's gonna call. Focus on that person.
Wow, okay, that's smart.
Of course it's smart. Who the fuck do you think you're taking to? Fucking Scooter Braun, baby. Awesome, man. Good luck. All right, let's go to the next question. That's exactly right. I was working on something fun. I never got to tell you about it because something happened. Nonetheless, very simply, I knew more about Rap Caviar in 48 seconds than, coming from zero, because it's just not complicated. People, I think the thing that you understand, the thing that I definitely understand, it's what Vince McMahon understands, it's what Walt Disney understands. It's like understanding where the consumer's attention is and how that's controlled is everything. Who's this? Jefferson, it's Gary Vaynerchuk. You're on the Ask Gary Vee show with Scooter Braun.
S&D, buddy. Thank you.
Well, listen, I could tell in your voice how pumped you are. I totally get it.
Jefferson, I just want to let you know, Jefferson, this is great for me too.
Did he actually?
All right. So,
Jefferson, real quick before you go any further, there's a very inside joke for Jets fans. You literally sound like Jeff Fisher calling the Jets game yesterday, which was pretty classic. So, nonetheless, Jefferson, what's your question?
He's an idiot.
So my question is, growing, I came from a different country, just like you, and
which country?
I didn't mean to.
Guatemala.
Very nice. Keep going.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I apologize, but I have to say, what's so amazing about you calling for Guatemala is, we referenced earlier in this podcast, I sit on Pencils of Promises board, and one of the core countries that we build schools in is in Guatemala. So, big shout out to Pop. Keep going.
Oh my God, why are you there?
Thank you. So, in high school,
That's horrible.
after graduation, I really wanted to go to school, but after that, I saw, changing, like social media. So, one of your videos popped up and said that, get rid of the people that don't really, help you. So I did, and now, I don't get, invited out to, Friday night bars, Saturday night bars and stuff like that. So,
if you want.
Well, what did you think was gonna happen when you tell your friends go fuck themselves?
So that's perfectly fine with me. Yikes. Because just like you, I'm a big family guy,
Okay.
My question is now is how do I find
like-minded people,
those friends that I can work with?
Yep. So let me ask you a question. What do you want to do for a living, or what are some of your interests?
Okay, so my dad is a contractor. Okay.
Yep.
So what I did with him is that we build a LLC company.
Okay.
Okay. So my dream is to build him his dream house.
That's amazing, brother.
At the end,
Yeah. So
can I ask a question? Do you want to be in the contracting business, or is that just a dream? Like, what is the goal for you in building a business? Like, what do you want to do? I know you want to. The goal is to build your dad a house, but how do you want to get there? What is the business you want to create?
Okay, so I saw what we're really good at, and my dad does like a lot of like custom work, and his customer service is like amazing, like not like any other contracted business there. So I want to help him become bigger, for him to hire other people.
And you want to do that by bringing marketing to the business, or being another pair of hands that can do craft? How are you thinking about that?
So I got into like social media, on like Facebook advertisement, Instagram advertisement, and I did get some clients from there, but I want to know how we can find, how I personally can find like friends that can push me to be better, because I would always ask somebody to like come with me and to learn more things, but at the end of the day, they always like
Look, I'm trying to understand the question, so I'm going to answer it a couple different ways. I don't know if it'll be helpful, but I'll try. Number one, I can tell you from my party promoter days, 90% of the people that were in the club with me 10 years ago are still there. So, when you're talking about Friday night bars and this, that, and the other, like, no life has been changed on Friday night drinking. You're young and ambitious. It's good to live life and have fun, but I wouldn't worry about that as like the letdown and anything that's going to stop you. So just disregard that, because those people aren't going to be grinding like you. As far as like finding like-minded people, I don't know your personality well enough to see who you're going to gel with. What I can tell you is I would do research on larger companies that you admire in your space. Look at these companies that have find people who took, contracting companies and built them into larger real estate holdings, and people who ended up going from contracting houses to, building out commercial real estate and different things. Like, there are people who literally started off in that business and then ended up owning, huge amount of real estate themselves and building very big businesses, and sometimes they're doing that in different ways. So what I would say is start doing those research, find those people, create mentors, and they might introduce you to someone else your age and say, hey, someone else called me, there's another like-minded person you should meet. I remember years ago I went and met someone at a record label, and he said there's someone you should meet, and his name's Adam Granite. He's a young guy. He's become like a GM over here. And now Adam and I have stayed friends all this time, and Adam is now the new, he's one of the top international guys in Universal Music, and we work hand in hand, and we've had a friendship since I was 19 years old.
Can I ask a quick question, Jeffrey? Are you looking for these friends because you want to get value out of them in the business world, or because you want some people to hang out with on a Saturday night who are pushing and I think both matter. I'm just curious what you're looking for.
Yeah, because I just want, somebody to be there to help me as well, if I have any questions. So basically,
yeah, honestly, the reason I asked you, and even the way you answered, I was getting that vibe. I'm wondering if there's a very big difference between finding mentors and finding friends who are ambitious.
So I would say Tinder or Bumble.
Got
it. But do you see what I mean? I think you might be asking for mentorship, not friendship, which is very okay. I got that sense, and is that true or not?
That's true.
Okay, so to me, couple things, and then I want to move on. You're 18, so the biggest fear I have, even in the series of questions and energy, is I promise you one thing Scooter and I will agree on, is patience matters, man. This is a marathon. We ate so much fucking shit. Like, it's so, not frustrating, because I want everybody to win, but the amount of people that are going to lose that thought it happened overnight for us without understanding the sheer amount of One thing I also know about Scooter, and I'm sure this is how he was, because I know him these days, I'm sure it was even more because we were both younger for that reason, like, sheer hours of output, I'm like 84.
Look, I'll speak to that, and Gary just triggered something in me. So I still remember vividly going home in my 20s and my dad saying, "I want to talk to you. I think that you're, working too hard. You're missing out on stuff." And I looked at him and I said, "Dad, I'm trying to do something that I'm from." So I'm not in that mode of joy yet. I'm in the mode of grind, and I had to make certain sacrifices to get to where I was. That being said, when Gary was talking, I was also thinking about, there's this big misconception about success because of stories like Gary, stories like mine, stories like Mark Zuckerberg, and people think it just happens at a young age and it goes for you in your 30s. And the truth is, the average entrepreneur doesn't even find the business that makes them successful till they're 39 years old. And I just read another article that got put out that the average entrepreneur who has a successful business in tech is 47 when they start. So there's this misconception it's all these young people, and it's just not the truth.
And don't forget, brother, the other thing that I'm scared shitless of is it's been a decade of good economy. So you've got all these Instagram entrepreneurs that are going to get blown the fuck out when the economy hits the fan, and people are over-leveraged, trying to act like tough guys and gals, and they're going to lose. And so, like, there's so many layers to this. Your biggest advantage...
You're 18.
Bingo. Like, I'm scared to... I'm so curious... I say this a lot, Scooter, take your life. You have such a great family thing going on, like, professionally. Would you trade everything you've got right now to be 18? To have all that time?
Knowing what I know?
I'll give you 10%. Just for the sake of this game, you get to take 10% of your knowledge, and you get to be 18 starting from zero. Would you take it professionally?
Okay, let me just preface it by saying... I would not trade my life to go back to 18 ever, because I now know my children exist.
I know.
Never
Notice how I hedged it and said your family life. Take that out.
Move that out.
Business.
Yeah, I go back.
Of course you would.
Yeah, I go back.
And this is why all these 18-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 24-year-olds, I'm like,
dude, I'd kill the game with 10%.
1%. Scooter, 1%.
Yeah, kill the
game.
Being
you?
Yeah.
1%?
Let me back.
Give me 1%.
Plus my metabolism, crazy. I can eat whatever I want.
Jeffrey, listen, you need to be patient, brother, and you need to bring value to mentors. People cold email and DM Scooter and I 24/7, 365, and they're offering to take us out to lunch or drive us from the airport. It's a ludicrous trade. It's like laughable. You need to bring value. I talk a lot about people eventually working for people for free. If I want to be a music mogul, I swear, I'll say it this way, because the team here has made a clip for me to post on Instagram of where I say eventually people are going to pay me $200,000 to work for me, and I'm not posting it because it's too douchey in its framework. But I'll say this: if my 19-year-old best friend, if my best friend, one of my best friends from college already has like an 18-year-old, he had a baby early. If that kid hit me up right now and said, Gary V, I'm desperate to be a music mogul, I would literally tell him to hit up his dad Glenn and pay Scooter to work as an intern for free for him. I'm being dead serious.
You know what's funny about you saying that? It's it's funny that you say that for two reasons. One, listen, it's funny you say it for two reasons. One, because I always tell people when I meet them, I was like, stop worrying about getting a job. Create so much value for yourself that they will not let you go. And then number two, just today, and I'm not going to tell the story because it's a personal thing, I saw an opportunity to spend more time with someone I admire. And I know that every time I spend time with them, I get knowledge that makes me better. And I said that I would literally, I was like, hey, I want to pay for this for us to go, just because I knew I was going to get more time with that person.
I was super flattered when you offered.
The person was like, no, I'll pay. And I was like, no, it's on me. And I was fighting it because I literally, truly believe
100%.
that every single minute I spend with someone who gives me that knowledge, the return is a tenfold every single time.
In the same way that I tell so many of you that you need to find optimism and positivity, because that's a mental framework, some is wisdom, some is financial information, cultural information. listen to me. You're looking for mentors. You need to find people that have done. Scooter gave you a great variation of this. Find other people that did what you wanted. If you want to be a music mogul, you should work for free for Scooter Braun and beg him and pray. And Guy Osieri and Troy Carters and all these people that have done things. Like, it's super smart to bring value. Like, that's the person you want to be. What you see under the hood when you're closest to the sun is disproportionately valuable. It's disproportionately valuable. Cool, bro. Thanks. I mean, that is like.
I have no ammo with anything.
I'm so intrigued by this.
No, just did. Just did.
Oh, there it is.
Me neither. I'm good with that one.
All right.
Are we doing another phone call?
No, I gotta get out of here. I gotta run to something.
No, I want to do one more, Gary.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do one more because I feel like this next kid. I used to like.
Why not be a kid?
I used to be on online, and I felt like if I don't answer like the next kid, I miss out on like the great one. So I feel like this next kid might be special. I'm just feeling something.
Who was the person you were looking at on YouTube? The person right before Justin.
There's a guy.
Oh, he was an artist.
That's so amazing.
He was an artist.
He
He was an artist that Akon had. I can't remember his name. He was an artist that Akon had.
It's Gary Vaynerchuk. You're on the Ask Gary V show with Scooter Braun.
How can you hit a million?
Hi. Oh my God.
Brooke, before you do anything, you need to thank Scooter tremendously. I'm about to be late for something. He pushed me because he has that kind of energy. You need to really thank Scooter for this moment.
Scooter, thank you so much.
This is it.
So, my name is Brooke Johnson.
We'll sign you.
I have applied for an internship with your company for several years now since I graduated.
Brooke, this is the greatest moment. Brooke, you have made my fucking life. Brooke, good news.
Brooke,
you don't even know. You've got the job. It's done. You've got the job. SB Projects, you're locked in. It's done. It's done. I will do everything. I will cancel my life to make this happen, Brooke. You are an intern in for SB. It's done. Brooke, I'm telling you, it's done.
Scooter,
Brooke. Say thank you. Congratulations, Brooke. This is done.
Brooke, where do you live?
Scooter, so I went to LA last week. I bought a $100 plane ticket just to go down there because I was like, hey, I'm gonna get some coffee with CEOs because no one calling. I live in Seattle, Washington, actually Puyallup, Washington.
2X day,
keep going, boys. This is the moment of my life.
So I flew down to LA and I was like, I'm gonna get some coffee with CEOs because nobody was biting on any of my applications that I was throwing in. Sony, Live Nation, nothing.
Keep going.
And so I got a few interviews, but when I was down there, I got pickpocketed. I got my phone stolen. I got in a really bad car accident. I was zoned and thrown into an intersection.
All right, Brooke. First of all, I'm gonna give you money for the rights to your story. I want this movie. Keep going. Keep going.
I had the biggest interview of my life the next day at 9 a.m. And
Who's it with?
It was just Adidas. It was
okay. Keep going.
I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you much. But
go ahead.
it was a big job, and So they interviewed me, blah, blah, but I got an email last week, they were like, hey, we're moving our offices, so I was like, oh, great. I don't know what to do, and I want to work in LA.
Brooke, I have a question for you. What do you want to do?
I want to change the world.
I understand that.
But in details, Brooke, don't blow your fucking shot here with some fucking ideology bullshit. Okay. Brooke, do not ideology your fucking life into the wrong direction.
Brooke, what kind of job would you
I want to inspire. I'm looking for marketing. I want to inspire people to inspire themselves.
Okay, Brooke, hold on.
Brooke, you go one more ideology step and Scooter's going to kill you and hang up on you.
Brooke,
don't give me any more 2019 horse shit. Get real practical here right now. This is the moment of your life. You're going to watch this video every day for the rest of your life. And if you do one more ideological fucking theoretical bullshit thing here when he's looking for practicality, I'm going to punch you in the nose.
Okay, Brooke, here's my question for you. You say marketing. What gives you experience in marketing? Anything?
What gives me experience? Can you repeat that?
What did you do?
What kind of experience do you have in marketing?
What was on the resume? Anything yet or nothing?
I have a little bit of marketing experience. I was the president of the American Marketing Association at my university. I successfully got us $7,000 through... oh God.
Don't worry, you're fine.
Oh my God,
I'm still here, Brooke.
I didn't sell anything. I just went to my Zumba class and these women, I got these women on board with my ideas, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you some money. And so I walked out of the YMCA one day with $1,000, and it's things like that.
Okay, so Brooke, here's my question for you. Can I, just out of curiosity, give me your background, your parents, like what did they do?
My mom's a single mom. My dad's completely out of the picture.
So Brooke, let me get this straight. You're a young lady who I assume is a single mom. Like you got student loans.
Yes, I have a lot of student loans. Yeah.
So you got student loans. You're grinding. You're going to school. You're making things happen. You have a dream of marketing. You buy a $100 plane ticket and just show up in LA. Somehow you got an interview. They've decided to move on. All the other people wouldn't meet with you. You got pickpocket, everything else. And then how did you find out about this tonight? You were just watching Gary's Instagram?
Yeah, one of my friends told me I needed to follow Gary Vee because he was like, hey, let's get your head out of your butt and figure it out.
So, Brooke, here's my thing, right? Okay, so I want to explain what happened. Gary needs to go. And Gary, we just did a call with a guy, and I just said, look, my whole life experience has always been that last one when I'm about to leave.
Can you hear us?
One more, that something very special happened. So we decided you were the one special. I said, Gary, one more. So that's why he was saying everything else. So what I'm saying to you is, I get in a lot of trouble with my on the street, and they ask for an internship, and I say yes. I've literally been
super pissed with me right now because I just.
No, listen, I am actually told I'm not allowed to do that anymore by my own company. Because I get in so much trouble for giving random, and usually they turn out to not always.
Yeah, they're always shit. They're always shit.
But,
oh no, I'm a good investment.
No, I know, but
here's the thing.
It's always shit, bro. Don't worry.
It's usually always shit, but it's worked out a couple times.
Yeah, and one time fucking nets out, and guess what? That's why Scooter and I have fucking companies, not the fucking henchmen here in the corner.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say to you, Brooke. When you graduate.
I already did.
Yeah, she's ready to fucking roll, Scooter.
Okay, and you want to work for free? You said you just want an internship?
Well, minimum wage would be terrible.
I will work for free. I'm planning on moving down to Los Angeles within the week, regardless of if I get a job or not.
And what about money to live? How are you going to afford to live in LA?
I have a cousin who told me that I can rent a room for $350 and
cousin, yes.
So in Santa Clarita, and so I was like, okay, I'll take that up. I don't know what's gonna lead, and so I'm packing my car this weekend.
Brooke, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get your information. I'm breaking my rule. This is not for any kid watching. You meet me in the street. I'm not breaking my rule again. Don't get it twisted.
It's never happening again.
Okay. But what I'm going to tell you is I follow, like, the universe has fixed my life plenty of times. I was telling Gary earlier, like, when I don't really know, sometimes it's overwhelming me. You need a break. And I think sometimes in life, I was talking to Gary about
Brooke, start fucking crying.
Brooke, I want to explain this. I was talking to Gary about luck earlier, and what I mean by that is, and I never got to explain it, I have friends who I know are as smart as me and have worked as hard as me and have not had the success in life because along the way, they just didn't get the breaks. And I always tell them, keep going. The breaks are waiting for you. The breaks are waiting for you. Sometimes it happens earlier in life. I got lucky. It happened earlier in life. And sometimes it happens later in life.
And sometimes it happens on the Ask Gary Vee show.
And I think tonight happened on the Ask Gary Vee show. So I don't know what it will turn into, but you deserve a break. So I'm not giving you a job yet, but I'm going to give you the internship. And what I'm going to do is
we're going to pay you minimum wage too, Brooke.
But unlike the other interns, I'm going to actually make sure that like you and I, that I put you on a couple projects, to make sure that I see what you can do on the marketing side. And that's why we did the extra phone call.
Even better. It gets way better because I'm not letting fucking Scooter here out Oprah me. So on top of that, because you want to do marketing, I'm flying you. I'm paying for all this shit. I'm flying you to New York. I'm putting you up in a hotel for a week and or at D-Rock's house. I haven't figured it out yet. And you're gonna work here at Vayner for a week.
But what if I want to hire?
No. Stick with me real quick. You're gonna work with my team for a week. We're gonna give you all the secret sauce so that when you go back to Scooter's Land, you're not just doing some YMCA hustle. You're doing 2019 perfect marketing. You're coming here for a week. We're gonna teach you as much as we can in a week. You're gonna work 19 hours a day like our crew does. Then you're gonna go back to Scooter's world and eventually be the CMO of fucking Scooter Brawl projects.
So Brooke, we're gonna figure this out. The one thing I want you to promise me though, if we do this, you gotta only promise me one thing.
I'm all ears.
Okay. I just want you to call your mom when you're done and thank her because I'm raising kids with two parents and it's hard already. And the fact that your mom has been a single mom and raised someone with this kind of ambition, that's a beautiful thing. And she probably put a lot of sacrifices and you don't even know. So I just want you to call her and say, thank you, I caught a break tonight. I don't know what it'll turn into, but I'm glad. I could hear you need a break. So you got your break tonight.
And Brooke, I got one request. Are you a Seahawks fan?
Well, I know you guys are Jets fans, but yeah, go Hawks, man.
Okay, you now have to become a New York Jets fan. Like right now, like there's nothing else to say. Like Russell is a great guy. Like Pete Carroll, former Jets coach. But right here, right now, you have to tell the world you are now a New York Jets fan.
Would you guys trade your football team for this?
Was she
I
right?
would not, but good news, I can fucking do anything with myself.
Hold on, Gary, you know what?
I would not.
Hold on. Let me tell you. Hold on. I don't want you to answer this, Brooke. I need to say something. Now I really like you. The problem with football fans, and this is why as a Jets fan I respect Eagles fans and other people, is that there are all these people that are only fans when they're winning. They're fair weather fans. Jets fans, we can hear about Joe Willie Namath our entire lives. We're real fans. We fight. The fact that she just got this break and still had the guts to tell us, I'm staying a Seahawks fan. Brooke, I fuck with you.
Brooke, on the other hand, I don't. So I'm taking everything. I'm taking everything I offered off the table. No New York, no D-Rock house, no flight here. You have to go straight to fucking Scooter's World, and you can knock on YMCA doors and fucking sell some albums. I don't fucking know. I'm out. Scooter's in.
I'll fly into your office. Don't worry, I'll figure out a way.
I'm kidding. Listen, I'm super excited.
This is why we took the last
Andy's
phone call.
gonna
This is
send
exactly
you.
the kind of
Andy's
stuff
gonna
I
send
want.
you a message right now to your Facebook with my email. We'll get set up. We'll forward it to Scooter's Land.
You want to do a week here?
She's gonna come here for a week. We're gonna train her to be. Yeah, we'll put her up for a week and train her, and then we'll send her back to you with more talent.
And then I'm gonna pay for the flight to LA from there, and then you move into your cousins, and we'll start the internship.
Oh my God.
And Brooke, I'm gonna buy you a $4,000 car.
What are you really?
I'm being dead serious. She can't get to your fucking office without a car. I don't know what 4,000 gets you in car world these days.
You want to split it?
Done. Brooke, we're buying you a $4,000 car.
Yo, by the way, my office is going to be really pissed that I'm just giving out cars, and they've been working.
Listen,
they're going to be like,
Brooke,
what the fuck?
Brooke, I'm going to hang up now because I'm about to buy you a house. and so, congratulations, Brooke. Fucking Scooter made your life.
By the way, it's also Uber and Lyft, you know.
Yeah, I know, but let's get her. I want her to drive a $4,000 car because there's a little bit of that ghetto magic that I'm interested in. I want the hustle and drive.
Do you get to choose it?
Yeah, it's green, but not that teal bullshit up in Seattle. It's hunter green. Brooke, we're buying you a fucking car. You got a job. You work for Scooter. Like, you're fucking coming and getting fucking, like, IP from Vayner. Like, shit's good tonight.
Oh my God.
Are you crying, laughing, or throwing up?
I'm doing smile, crying.
Awesome. We love you, Brooke. Scooter, you're amazing.
Take care,
See ya.
Bye. That's why we do the extra phone calls.
I get it. I'm not even doing a question a day. That was the fucking ending of the day. I love you, brother.
Love you too, buddy.
Always. I'll see you soon. That was amazing. See ya. Bye.
Take care.
The broccoli?
Hey. First and foremost, I'm always flying in and out on these things, so I don't get to see a ton of presentations, but I catch up
Circle
with
activity.
a little
Get to
something here
safety.
and there. I just want to clap up the last one more time because I thought that was phenomenal. I was sitting up there and I was listening. I'm trying to always maximize work, so I was sitting there, we're working, and all the sessions were really good. I was actually able to get a bunch in today, which made it fun, but that was really good. I was really like feeling it. And I was like, this is really good. I was like listening. I was like, I believe in all that shit. I believe in every word.
Why is there
that you
nothing
spit.
in here every time?
But then you got into the Michael Jordan part. And I was like, fuck Jason. Because I'm a diehard Knicks fan and I fucking hate Michael Jordan. Period. Oh man, that sucked. And I'm a Jets fan. I got Tom Brady. I'm fucking miserable about sports. Anyway. Look, I want to really take advantage of this format. This is a very small group and we're really tight place, just like how I love it. And so to be very honest, I'll spit a little bit more, but I'd love to do a little bit of Q&A. So I think technologies that so many other thoughts on YouTube, Facebook right now, especially how you I think the thing that I'm most interested in is emotion, right? To me, the most interesting thing is the internet. I think the most interesting, the internet itself is ultimately the thing that gives us an opportunity to solve the thing that I think is hard to be passionate about. I associate so much with so many because my story is I was born in a
So my topic coming on.
So
case no one knows,
we don't know. It's about what you did, where you come from. And it's very fun. It's interesting. It's all that the system
Yo, we gotta get out of here. Oh my gosh. Dude.
All my struggles.
I'll save you, don't worry.
Been my biggest advantage. And I didn't grow up in an education system,
I ran you over.
system that rewarded me.
I did run you over. You didn't see, bro. You didn't see. No, I saw you. I ran you over. There was an X. When I hit you,
sold flowers.
Because you jumped out and then I was just going straight and then I literally ran you over. Like I was the one who killed you.
Like fucking, it was my last song. Like, what I did, and really what I would love to leave you here with, like, I know the real answer because I've seen it in so many people's eyes. It's self-awareness. My biggest fear in this room is that you're trying to be somebody because you want to be them versus you figure yourself out and put yourself in a position to be that person. I think what you had, when I watched what you were just talking about, like, that kid was that kid from the get. He was self-aware, he figured himself out. He was comfortable in that nerdy environment. I was comfortable in high school, working every minute, every second, and missing every party. And like, I have not heard a voice in my own head but mine for a very, very, very long time. And I think what is most interesting to me right now is if you really pay attention to what's happening, the internet has absolutely done this incredible thing, which is there's nobody who's flawed that can sit in between you and the end consumer who's stopping you besides the narrative in your own head. That's a big deal. Like, you know, obviously a lot of people growing up in the music industry, it's just so different now. Like, just fucking go make it. Like, producing a song now with technology and putting it on SoundCloud, production and distribution, like that's some shit you couldn't even imagine. And so I just think, I'll be very honest, I think we're living through the greatest time to be a human ever. I do. We've got problems everywhere. We got genocide in the world. We've got nothing but unlimited problems. But I put things into perspective. Like, I don't know, we got plenty of problems, but the Black Plague was worse. Right? We got plenty of problems, but World War II was worst. Like, you know, there's just opportunity because of the internet, not because we've evolved. I don't put this on us. Like, we've still got plenty of but the fact that we have so much opportunity. And so, to me, it's basic. Either you're dwelling and looking backwards, or you're optimistic and looking forward. The problem is, you grew up in an environment, you grew up with parents that put you on the defense or the offense. And that is really the lottery. The lottery really is, who's your mom? Right? The lottery is who's your best friend. That's the lottery I think a lot about. And so I have unlimited white male friends who have tons of fucking money in the bank who fucking lost their stuff because they got the wrong lottery because their mom's broken. Because her dad was broken. And so I am the byproduct against all the odds that I had. All time, just all time. So snaps and all the other immigrant families were making fun of her because her son wasn't gonna make it because he had to get A's and B's because that's all we knew in the 80s and 90s. She knew who I was. She let me hone my skills. I get B's and F's, I get punished, but I'm still allowed to go do my baseball because I'm building my skill, and they taught me work. I didn't see my dad until I was 15 and he made me work in his liquor store, even though we slept in the same house every night because he'd left before I woke up and he came after. And so we live in this world now where the fact of the matter is your Instagram account, your YouTube account, your SoundCloud account, the internet. Like the fact that, let me tell you something that fascinates me because we think a lot about money and opportunity. Let me tell you about an opportunity that I can't get out of my head, which is there's a website called Craigslist. There's a section called free, where people list shit that they want to get rid of. You go there and you take it, and then you list it on Facebook Marketplace and you sell it. And when I think about this, I've been dreaming about this for the last 72 hours. Like, I'm literally doing this selfishly, so D-Rock capture this because this video is going out. Like, it's crazy to me that the only thing that stops somebody from winning is education and the work ethic, right? I understand that. But education comes in so many different forms. I was on the Breakfast Club the first time, and we thought I was a motivational speaker. So he kind of called me out. I was like, fuck. You know, it's like, he's like, you're lying on the radio. He's like, and he's like, give us something practical. Fuck this mindset shit, right? I'm like, okay, the mindset's the game, but fuck it, I'll give it to you. And I said, go to the dollar store and go to Marshall's, take your phone, scan shit, look it up on eBay, and if it costs $2 at Marshall's and it's selling for $9 on eBay, buy it and sell it. And that was it. It was kind of like this moment in a 6-minute radio spot. And then it caught a little bit, then I read all the comments and
oh my gosh, there's a knapsack up here.
Then I start getting emails like, yo, I make $500 a week, but I'm making $200 now because I'm at the dollar store and selling it on eBay. And it built in this whole thing, and then I named it 27
When does the circle come, like?
And we have 10,000 emails of people who've literally went garage sailing to the thrift store and the dollar store and have made 20, 30, 40,000. I started thinking about the long tail of all this, right? Like we're in this, especially like in this incubator, like 99% of startups are gonna fail in this generation because we're living through the greatest era of fake entrepreneurship. The amount of fake entrepreneurs that are in this building right now is extraordinary.
Potential collapse detected. Relocation
it's true. It's true. And by the way, please, I know a lot of you don't know me. I'm not sitting on a high horse like I'm a good entrepreneur and you're not. It's just black and white obvious because it's a bubble because it got cool, right? It got cool. And everybody, and it doesn't cost anything. And there's so much money in the system. There's so much incubators willing to give you money. All my friends for the last 10, 15 years are building all these businesses where it's really not that hard to lose money every month. Right? I think on your panel, you guys said as entrepreneurs, losing money and then making money or building. I couldn't catch the whole thing. I was distracted. The problem is it takes a lot of talent to build something to then eventually make money. We spend 99% of our time talking about fucking Slack and Uber and Snapchat and fucking Instagram. We got like 17 companies to talk about, and there's 17 fucking companies going out of business every hour, every minute. And meanwhile, there's more money being pumped into the system. And it's just all so obvious right now where this is all going, and it's not very pretty because we're lacking self-awareness. What we're doing is we're just riding the waves of what the current conversation is. There's so many people that are gonna be founders of companies who would have done incredibly well being number 17 at this startup, or number 94 at that company, or number 167 at that company, but they want to be number 1 of the Uber of pancakes, right? And like so, and I'm watching this and I'm fascinated by it. Meanwhile, there's so much practicality. Let me tell you what breaks my heart. I read a lot of feedback from my audience. I've gotten 2 examples in the last 3 weeks of kids that were making money on retail arbitrage, right? So I think I brought up already the Craigslist to Facebook Marketplace. I think, no question, if you said to me, hey, this is a classroom of like 16-year-olds and they have to make money in the next 24 months or bad stuff happens, I only default into go buy shit and sell it and run the internet arbitrage. Become an we'll spend the first 3 months, I'll teach you everything about Craigslist and eBay and Facebook Marketplace and let go, and then we'll talk about China and buying shit there and the arbitrage. I would spend an enormous amount of time because the practicality right now and the inefficiency of the internet of buying and selling stuff is extraordinary. In the last 3 weeks, I've had these kids who, have been following my content and they're like, Gary, I want to get your advice. And basically both narratives went the exact same way, which is, hey, I listened to you, I got good, I started buying stuff, then I hit it big. A bunch of people made a lot of money on solar eclipse glasses. Like, you could literally buy those things for 60 cents in China, buy them, and then sell them for $4 a pop on Amazon. People do that. Like, I know one kid who made $317,000 on a $3,000 store.
Oh my god, that shield!
It's very real to me instead of I'm gonna build some crazy app that's gonna fucking change the world, right? Because it's practical as fuck. And both of them have made real money. One kid's made like $60,000 this year off of like $100 base, right? Like these are like real money. And both of them took it off and bought crypto.
So you didn't get enough. That's so much crap.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, I believe in blockchain as a technology out my ass.
What's up? No,
the part of the story he doesn't know is they bought it 17,000, right? And they bought it 17,000 because they read 400 articles that said it was going to be 34,000. And by the way, Bitcoin could be 400,000. I'm not sure. I don't know. Here's what I'm disappointed in: short-term thinking.
How's this window not free?
I'm not mad at him. I'm like, listen, maybe long-term, like
That's me.
I don't know anybody's money situation. Let me give you something that will really work for you. If you don't have to take it out of Wall Street, put your money into Facebook and Amazon,
that's how it looks
and
like.
I promise you, unless America melts over the next 7 to 10 years, you'll do well.
Why?
There's certain things that are just so black and white obvious, right? And then everybody else is looking for a lottery ticket. I used an analogy in a podcast I just did with some good guys, and it hit me, maybe because I was in Miami and stayed at the Hard Rock Casino.
How's no one treating
which was fucking disgusting. But a lot of people are treating their business the way you go to a casino. Yeah, you could have one night where you took 5,000 from the casino, but why don't you keep going every night and tell me how it works out? They don't build Vegas on us winning. And everybody's treating their business that way right now. Everybody's jumping from trend to trend. There's no foundation of what they're actually doing. They're riding only headlines, and they're gonna get exposed. Instead of taking a meaningful step back and doing a lot of thinking about how exciting it is to eat shit. You know, the thing that works for me that I really wish on everybody else is I love the journey. I love the game. I love the struggle. You know why I keep doing these things? Because I like when people clown on me. You know why I came out with a sneaker, my own sneaker, especially growing up in that era? Because I knew people were gonna shit on me, thinking I had too big of an ego and audacity, and I knew people didn't think it was gonna work. And that's why I did it, because I wanted that struggle. And then the high of outselling future weekend speakers combined, that high is the greatest, and the low, that's my L.
There we go.
When you watch the game that you're in,
now, buddy.
you win either way.
On,
you either win and you get to talk shit, or you lose and your boys get to talk shit and you laugh along with them. The biggest problem right now is insecurity. Everybody's actions are to get shit to close their insecurity. You need a new pair of fucking Supremes because you want to tell people who you are through your Supremes, but you're just fucking disguising your weakness. And so I am absolutely obsessed for people to start talking about self-awareness and patience, because they will work. Now, it might take 15 years, it may take 7, it may take 9, but if you actually take tried and true things like that during a time where there's this much opportunity, it's not sexy to walk around and say, you buy weird
That's what I'm talking about,
in China and sell them on Amazon and make $7,000 a month, but it works. And I've literally sat in rooms and had these one-on-one discussions, and kids have chosen the sexier thing because we're playing one big fucking game of optics. We're playing one fucking big game of optics. And like, VC is super interesting to me. I did really well, right? Here's my story. I made a lot of money selling baseball cards as a kid. My dad worked his fucking face off and saved every dollar. Immigrants have figured it out. It's called make money, buy no dumb shit, save it for 13 years, buy an asset, have the American dream, right? Versus what's going on. By the way, new prediction, because I've been doing some homework, college debt is gonna take the whole country down. I had no idea. I don't know, you know, I knew college debt was fucked up. I didn't know the following thing that I've been doing homework on the last 3 days. This story is real and is being scaled across America right now. You're $237,000 in college debt on some interest that's fucking bonkers. You're making $84,000 a year and banks are lending you $500,000 to buy an apartment. So just get ready, 2009's coming all over again. I don't know how long Trump can artificially hold it up, but shit's gonna hit and it's gonna hit hard. And here's what's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna blame the colleges, because you know Omar, who needed a new BMW, even though he had $313,000 in debt, he's not gonna blame himself for the BMW. He's gonna blame Babson. And so colleges' brand's about to get fucking collapsed, just like the banks got shit on, including all these opportunities that we know are good alternatives. You know, by the way, 1930, 1940, 1950, vocational skills were high. Then the propaganda of college came through, which is cool, because it worked for me. It just, shit changes. And so we're living through a really interesting time, because there's so much carnage in this system.
Sorry about that, guys. On Gary Vee.
Eliminate all opposition.
You know what time it is, bro. You know what time it is. So where are you? Oh my goodness. What's wrong, bro? You don't got no guns? You don't got no guns? Where is it?
Potential collapse detected. Advise relocation to indicated safe zone.
Well, either of us didn't check, but yeah. Is that at the gas station? Yeah. Down there? Yeah. Okay, 1 second. I see him. Look. Yes, buddy. Wait, I'm gonna take down his partner. Ready? Look. This guy on the roof. Or I'm taking this guy down too. Don't worry. Why is this guy so tired? He can't even run anymore. Watch this. Did he just put out a sensor dart?
Yeah.
Who's behind me?
It's not behind you, it's on my body.
Okay.
Yo, throw a grenade in there.
I don't have one.
He's inside. Go in there, go.
1 second, I just want to wait till he runs out.
Not though.
He will run out though.
Then
There we go.
you got no ammo.
22 rounds.
Yes.
Oh, I'm out of ammo, bro. It's going down now. Look at this. Oh, I punched him! Oh my gosh! Yeah, sure. It's a great idea. There's 4 people watching. Yeah. It's up to me, it's my birthday. Hey. Sorry guys, we're about to stop this stream. So, we'll be streaming again tomorrow probably. Sorry guys.